he had run a test on a kit box with that same airport. And he said he was very pleased with it, and that's the good part that I have heard. It was a positive deal. And he also says either the GA airfoil or the 4412 is a much better airfoil than the original Pietenpols. Now, I don't belittle Bernie, I know him very well, that's with his bio over here. He's a nice gentleman and a very practical guy. I don't know how many guys knew him, but boy, I'll tell you, ask him a question, he'd give you what he thought. He says, let me know if you are anytime interested or if I can help in efforts that you get to change it. Well, he was talking about an appointment in England. Now, that doesn't mean anything to you guys. But that 4412 airplane I sold to a guy who wanted to ride in a Pietenpol in one of the Oshkosh fly-ins. So, Frank, believe the old man, called him and said, well, I know a guy that's got a Pietenpol that you're riding, Lowell Frank, he'll meet you. So, and I called him. We met at Fond du Lac. I gave him a ride. He said, boy, he said, that's fun. I said, yeah, you betcha. He said, I think I'll buy this. I said, it's not for sale. The next words that were out of his mouth astounded me. He says, oh yes, it's for sale. He offered me $27,000, and I says, I'll ship it for that. It was in a van with the wings folded, and it was off the next week, and a few weeks, it was in England. But he couldn't get it to fly in England because it deviated from the drawings. This was when the Posey Chalice had built. Remember the Chalice Championship back? Gorgeous little airplane, you could handle anything. So I was on a trip to Dubai one time, or some business trip somewhere. I said, well, I'll stop by, and so sure enough, I comes out to the airport south of in England. Little guy with his stuffy looking face on, and shirt and tie. And I thought he was selling watches on the street. And he says, yes, he says, I want you to demonstrate it. Either the builder had to demonstrate it, or the pilot had to demonstrate it. I said, well, what sort of maneuver do you want me to do? He said, well, just fly it like you're going to fly it. Well, of course, I had an 85-pound metal, 4412 foil, flipped wings. I went up about 3,000 foot meters. I did the old split S, did a loop, pulled it up, did a roll, climbed up a little bit, spun around two, and when I come down, he was gone. It signed all the paperwork and it was certified for a little bad. So. And that's, I'm telling you, and I have no qualms with these, if that airplane is put together well, with T88 or better adhesives, good wood, and don't skim where the stresses are. Spars, even the ribs. Because I'll tell you, it'll do you in every time. Now, I've been flying since 1942, started when I was 13 years old. I've never had an emergency other than icing once in a while. You probably know. I've flown some of the hottest airplanes ever built, P-51s in Hellcats, and I'll tell you, the Pietenpol is the airplane to have flying. It will give you more excitement than any P-51 will, believe me. And cheaper. Although when I was a youngster, I could buy P-51s for $1,200 with a square cosmetic brand new engine. BT-13s, $200 or $300. And it was my job as a student pilot to fly these from the South Emergency Field in Chicago to Joliet, Kankakee. After the war, they would demonstrate these, what they had during the war to show them what kind of airplanes we had. That was my job. I was 17 years old. They wouldn't let me retract the wheels or use the flaps. So, because most of my experience was in Waco, Stearman, PT-22s, 18s, and anything that was worked on, manual. It's my job to fly around the airport for 10-15 minutes, find out where the leaked oil. Got back. My greatest experience of not quite knowing when to be checked out was a T-crack with the wheel. I'd never flown a wheel before. Holy moly. I was petrified. You know, it don't bother me to jump in a Waco or like these ones they got around here. I can jump in anything with a stick and it'll fly. But that T-crack, skirt, would have to be like it had a wheel in it. And that's the difference. It's metal body. I used to run aerobatics with the Waco UPF-7s, with the instructors, who were also pilots for United Airlines back in my days. They had DC-3s that flew out of mid-range. And on the weekends, they'd fly into this emergency field south of Chicago called Rubinstein Airport, which is no longer there. With 6 or 7 passengers in the DC-3, the co-pilot would stay in the airplane with one engine running. The pilot would get out and come up to the Coca-Cola machine, drink the Coke, climb back in, I went down and deliver his passengers to Kankakee. That's how they used to do it. And I'll tell you, it's a great experience because you learn a little bit about a lot of things. There's so much at the Pietenpols that you learn a lot about by doing it yourself or asking questions. That's all you have to do is ask questions. I'll tell you, it's amazing what you folks can learn. But anyway, is there anything else on those who want to see more particulars on that airfoil? You have to come up front because I'll tell you, I'm not going to spend time telling you 2,000 numbers and what's above the curve, what's below the curve. And it's amazing. You'd just like to see what the difference in the lift to drag curves for 3 or 4 different foils. It's like night and day. Absolutely night and day. So, other than that, my hour is up. Anybody that's overweight, get a 612. You can take apart for 220 pounds with no problem on a 90-degree day. Guaranteed. Thank you, Lowell. Brodhead on that. Yep.
Immediately after, give us about 5 minutes to move the TA system out. All of you signed in as members. You got a ticket for a drawing. You remember that? Yeah. Yeah. Drawing. Right outside in about 5-10 minutes.